All right, when we're doing diagnostics on people's machine, one of the first things that we ask is, what's your policy on calibration? And it ranges widely. It ranges from what's calibration to we do it every day, every morning. And so really what we're wanting to clarify is, when do you actually need to calibrate this machine? So in order to set this up a little bit, we're going to explain what calibration's doing. So the inside of the machine, everything's moved mechanically by a stepper motor. And when it wants to go to a position, it's going to be at 0, which is the home switch. And the board is going to command this motor to go a certain distance from home. So it's referenced from 0. And over time, mechanical play, backlash, sometimes issues with the motors, they can cause that 0 point to shift slightly. And then the machine gets confused. It doesn't know where 0 is. And that's when you're going to start getting weird lines, and you're going to get things that we don't really like generally off the mill. And so what a calibration does is it allows the machine to measure itself systematically to reset 0. So now we're going to offset any of those changes that may have occurred over time and be able to compensate for that. So that's what you're doing with a calibration. And so the question is the question is, when are you supposed to calibrate? And the issue is that it's possible to get a bad calibration, especially if you calibrate with a dirty object, or the planets are aligned in an unfavorable way. So our advice that we give to all of our customers is to only calibrate as a troubleshooting strategy. The mill's not running right, you're getting crappy results. We're going to calibrate as a first line of defense. Or the machine is moved. If you physically move or disturb the machine, you need to calibrate it because it changed shape. If you put it on a different surface or whatever you did, it changed shape, so it needs to know where its 0 point is again. And then thirdly, if you've taken the machine apart or serviced it, again, it's been disturbed, calibrate it. And lastly, if the machine has gotten a new firmware update, you also must calibrate it. So those are the only 4 times we calibrate. There's no recommended regular interval. Doing it daily, that is redundant, and you're frankly asking for trouble. Doing it weekly, also redundant. The calibration is a tool, and it should be reactive to those 4 points that I already outlined. So let's get into how to do the calibration for those of you guys that are unaware. Okay, so the first thing with calibration is absolute perfect surgical cleanliness. The machine uses an electronic signal to touch itself. Anything that doesn't conduct electricity, like maybe zirconia or wax or PMMA, the things that we cut, can disrupt the accuracy of that calibration. So the word is surgical clean, no fingerprints, wipe it down with alcohol and a clean rag. This pin must be perfectly clean. This must be perfectly clean, especially on the points where it touches the machine and where it's measuring itself. Everything's perfectly clean. We're perfectly clean here on these datums here on the tool carriage. We're perfectly clean in here on the spindle, on the top of the spindle. There's a small leaf spring that also must be perfectly clean. And the collet must be recently serviced and perfectly clean. Once you've satisfied all of those requirements, we can put our pin where it goes. We can load the calibration disc, click it in, and then we're going to do the wiggle test. I'll explain the wiggle test to you real quick. Wiggle test is we're going to grab the calibration disc right here, and we're just going to give it a little wiggle. And if you can detect any free movement, then you need to stop. If this thing can move relative to the machine, you have a problem, and now you're going to calibrate based on erroneous position. So always do the wiggle test. If it passes the wiggle test, everything's beautiful and clean. Then we shut the door and we move to V-panel. Yep. All right, so we're in V-panel, pretty dang straightforward. You're going to go into your maintenance section, hammer and wrench, bring it up, maintenance, and then we're going to go automatic correction. Read and pay attention to the prompts. It's essentially telling you to do what I just said, but it's a little less detailed. Hit OK. The machine will do its thing. It takes about 20 minutes. And once it's done, then you're ready to go and start milling. All right, it's been 20 minutes. We're done. We got a successful calibration. We're going to go ahead and remove this. And what I like to do, by the way, guys, is because I worked so hard to keep this thing clean, I'm now going to put it in a Ziploc bag. That way it stays clean. And next time I need to use it, I don't have to scrub it. With all that, hey, we're covering the basics right now, but we're going to get even deeper as we go. So if you want to learn more about how to get more out of your Roland machine, make sure that you're following Denteon on all the social channels, YouTube, and always feel free to reach out to us if you need any help. Like and follow for more.